Hello, hello, and welcome to Pre Monday Mojo. That's right. We're doing something a little bit different today because today is a special day. Today is National Encourage a Young Writer Day. And I have so many friends that are writers. I wanted to make today a special day so that we could interview different writers and have different opinions on how to encourage our younger kiddos from really young to teens to young adults and how we can encourage them to write. Because for me, I was brought up in a different era than today, completely different than what's going on in today's world, today's schooling, etc. So from going way back, I wasn't brought up really to write stories on my own, to express on my own. But right now, we have Bruce Barnes. He is a well known writer. He has written and he is here to help talk to everyone about how to encourage writing for younger people. So let's bring Bruce on. Welcome, Bruce. Welcome. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm awesome. So I'm so glad you could be with me today. I know that you've written a couple of books, correct?
Well, I've contributed a chapter to one, and I'm currently writing my own book.
Okay. Oh, and when do you expect that one to be ready?
I'm later this year. I'm not exactly sure.
So. Good. I know that when you're writing, it's not, I don't want to say a challenge, but it does take time and thought, and especially if you're, you want to stay on topic and so yep. Bruce, when I say that today is Encourage a Young Writer Day, what is your first thought that comes to mind when you hear that?
Oh, it's just what it says, encouraging them to write and use their imagination. I remember when I was in grade school, I really loved reading a variety of different books, and that was also kind of the height of Star Trek, the original series, and that. Yeah. So I was big on that. So I would actually, I remember writing my own little, outer space story.
Okay.
So now, just letting the imagination run wild.
I love that. Now, did they give you the topic to write about, or did you just write about it?
I just wrote about it myself, and that I guess I had different assignments in school to write short stories, but I don't necessarily remember those.
Exactly. Well, we've had a couple of writers that I interviewed before you today, Bruce, and you know what? They all answered that question a little bit differently. And that is what's so awesome, because we get to express our thoughts differently. We don't think the same. None of us think the same. You can have identical twins and put them up here and have an interview. They would still have different opinions, right? Because we get to have
that's
our own
awesome.
thoughts. And that's what's so great about our world, is we do get to think on our own. I was saying that when I was in school, I don't know if I don't remember, or in my mind, I say we didn't do it, but maybe it's just I don't remember, is that I was never told to express myself with just anything I wanted. Don't just write down your thoughts. That wasn't something that was brought to my attention. In
Yeah.
school, we were always like, here is this word, get it put on paper, or here is this sentence in the book, now get it on paper. Or and then later in school, it was like, this is your topic, now write about your topic. But it was going
Right.
more or less factual facts, not just my opinions. So,
Yeah.
and then home life, it definitely wasn't part of my home life. Oh, LaDonna, just sit down and write about your day today, you know.
Right.
But I think they do that more and more now, I think. Not really for sure. I know that when I used to take my girls on vacation, I would always want them to write about their vacation when they came back. They kind of
Yeah.
did it. They kind of didn't. I tried that with my
Yeah.
kids. It got even less. So I wished I would have um, brought that forward more. I don't want to say make them write more, but maybe to
Strongly encourage.
encourage, enhance the flavor of writing, because I think I missed out, and I definitely didn't want them to miss out on it, because it is a thoughtful process. You really get to be yourself
Mhm.
when you write, and you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have the
Right.
right punctuation, because guess what? You put it in a Word document, it'll do it for you, or get pretty dang close most of the time. Or you can
And that's
hire
what I like
someone.
about, and that's where I think it's almost kind of a lost art in that instead of using digital stuff, actually using writing it out on paper. The uh, just like we were saying, what you were saying for different trips to kind of, you know, write down your favorite things or what happened during the trip, and those type of things are, especially people that I never did it when I was growing up, but I know people would have diaries. That was essentially journaling. That was using your diary, your journaling. And now more
Right.
people are actually officially journaling more. Um,
Yes.
and that, so that's a great way of, it's just kind of a brain dump, getting the thoughts out of your brain and on paper and bringing them to life.
Oh, you know what? And that's the first time that's been brought up today is diaries. I remember having a diary, having a little bitty lock and a little bitty key,
Yeah.
and my brother would still break into it. And then when I became a teenager, my mom would still break into it. But that you're right, that was a type of journaling, and I had forgotten about that.
Yeah.
Um, and I wish that I would have done more of that, because later on I just stopped doing that. And now I have a notepad right on my table, right next to my recliner. So at night, if I have something that I think of, I'll write it down real quick so I don't forget it, so I can add it to whatever I'm working on. Because like
Yeah.
right now, I'm in the middle of, I was part of 3 books last year, part, not my own book, but part.
Right. Yeah.
And I am supposed to be writing about parenting in a new book coming out, just a chapter in it. Um, but boy, some reason I've had a hard time just getting started. And finally, I just sit down and got started a couple of nights ago. And now I'll just write down, just little things I remember. Your brain just shoots out these little signals that says, oh, you need to put that in there. Or, oh, you remember
Yep.
this now. And
When you
just
get
write it
those,
down.
yeah, when you get those little nudges of inspiration, you write them down.
Yeah,
And even if it's not a complete sentence or paragraph or whatever, if it's just a thought of a topic or something to you know
right.
uh,
You may or
work
may
on
not
later.
use it, but at least you have it there.
Yep.
So yes, I was so glad you brought up diary, because I had forgotten about that, and I did used to do that until I gave up on it being secretive. So, but you know
Yep.
what? Again, you don't have to be secretive. Put what you
Yeah.
think, and then you can go back and pick and choose when you do a book. Mila Johansson was on this morning and was telling us how easy it is to create your own book and write it and get it published in Amazon, you know.
Oh yeah,
I've
yeah.
never done it on my own because I've always had a publisher do it. So are you doing that? Are you?
I have not pursued that either yet,
Okay.
and I mean, eventually, after I get my my own book out there, I'm sure I'll have more information on knowledge on how to do that and be able to do
Right.
more books and
Exactly.
that. So,
Exactly.
but it's just it's a matter of like one of the things I read earlier about encouraging young people to write. There was something that was mentioned that if kids are avid readers, they're more likely to be good writers on coming creating their own stories, and that's because it's especially I just kind of was thinking about. I've never read the books. I've always enjoyed the movies, the Harry Potter
Yeah.
movies.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm a big kid at heart in that, and the different um, things that use your imagination in those stories. It's just fascinating what you can come up with, and by especially if you're just reading that type of book, your imagination creates stuff surpasses whatever movie special effects could do, type
I
of
know.
thing.
For me, Bruce, I'll sit there and I'll watch those weird creatures in some of those movies, and I'll think to myself, why didn't I think of something like that?
Yeah.
you know? But you're right. It just
Yep.
takes that creative thinking and that creative side of you to come out. So, again, when you get some of those thoughts, jot it down. Even if it's one word, it might trigger something else to come later. Okay, so I'm kind of throwing you under the bus, and I know that you don't know what I'm going to ask you. This hasn't been pre-rehearsed, but I wanted it that way so that it is truly coming from your heart, your mind, your soul, just
Mhm.
your first thoughts that come out, Bruce. When I read this, no, that's not the one I want to read to you. Sorry, this one first. Most children are natural storytellers. What do you think about that? What's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Oh yeah, I can remember so many different friends and family, their kids, and that would be launch into a big story about whatever it was that maybe happened that day or that week, and that and just getting all enthused and just excited about different things, and just uh, as well as if they did have a story that they wrote in school, and that just them telling it, whether they were reading it or just telling it from memory, just their excitement and their everything. And I, I have some friends that went to church, same church as me, when their kids were little. The oldest one, I don't know, she was maybe 6 or 7 years old, whatever, and just see them once a week. So she'd have to give me a whole update of that, what happened that week, and she'd be all excited. And I can just remember one particular time she said that she went shopping and we got some capri pants, and she started sharing something, and all of a sudden she stopped and looked at me. Do you know what capri pants are? That's just like she interrupted her really elaborate story. Just, do you know what capri pants are? I says, yeah, they're pants that are too short for you.
Yes, there you go.
It's like,
There you go.
no, they're not.
But that's just it. Even my 4-year old grandson, he has this, he can have the story of a lifetime just right there. He's just talking about he's really into rocks right now. Anything about rocks, throwing rocks, putting them in his pocket, how big they are, how small, what shape, what color. It's all about rocks right
Yeah.
now. And the little matchbox cars, and oh my
Oh,
goodness.
that's I collected
Oh
those and
yeah,
Hot
and
Wheels. Yep.
Paw Patrol. Paw Patrol is, and I mean, he will just talk forever. And you know what? If How amazing is that? They can't read yet. He's only 4. He just
Yeah.
turned 4 last week, but he has the stories of a lifetime. And if we can just
Oh yeah.
continue to let children speak like that forever, imagine how great our world would be when they are adults if they really truly were able to express their thoughts with filters, of
Well, it's like
course. But
like little kids that draw something, they make something, not like on a coloring book. They just make their own drawing, and a lot of times you're not too sure what it is, right? So one of the things that I learned early on is you want to obviously encourage them on that. So the best thing to do, and you look at that, it's like, oh, that's really interesting. Tell me about that. It's like you may not be able to figure out what it is, but they're explaining it, and they have a story behind that picture that they gave you.
they do. My grandson drew these to me in my vision. They look like circles and more circles, different colors of circles. And I asked him, wow, I love all of these colors. What do all of these colors mean? And he had drew the Paw Patrol Chase, which is the dog, one of the dogs, and he was the blue color. And then he had drawn a picture of mommy was the pink color, and daddy was the purple color, because he told me this whole story. Daddy had to be purple because Chase was already blue. And, it was just, he had a whole story behind all of these different colors of circles. And I just let him go. And he just went on and on. And it's just amazing. And I wished I could just bottle all of that up and just let him
Yeah,
continue to do it for the rest of his life, because we would be happier people if we really showed our more creative side
yeah,
throughout life. But we don't, or we haven't. I haven't seen it anyway. Maybe some people do, but I really haven't seen it. And especially the way our life is now, we need more happy. Dang it, we need more happy. We need more socializing and thought. So yes, and I
well,
love.
there's so many kids that they're expressing this imagination of theirs, and at some point their parents or other people start saying, oh, get out of the clouds, come back to reality. It's like, okay, that's all a trap, don't do it. It's like, live in the clouds.
You know what? Live in the clouds. Live with the pixie dust. Be happy. Be
Mhm.
flow. Just float in the air and make yourself happy, because it's all
Mhm.
about the journey. And if you don't have that happy, if you don't have that creative side, and I really believe art is a part of it, and writing is part of art, and colors
Yeah.
and imagination. That's why rainbows are not one color.
Yeah. Well, just the like the writing a story, that's just one form of expression. I mean, that story could turn into a movie.
You never
I mean,
know.
it's just evolving their imagination and their kind of skill set to try different things, because that's one of the things. I always have a pretty vivid imagination when I was growing up, and then when home video cameras came out, I had a portable video recorder and a camera, and one of my dad's friends, I remember, had came over, and he was always coming up with some really unusual ideas and that, but he had turned a delivery van into a mobile video recording and editing studio to go to like different corporations or businesses to do on-site video and that. And so I mentioned to him that, yeah, I was thinking about doing like weddings, and that's, well, yeah, just do it, just start. And it's like, okay. So I had a friend that was getting married. It's like, can a video record your wedding? And that started, for several years. I did that as a side, and really got good at it.
There you go. See, you
And
never
that's a
know.
form that's a form of storytelling.
Yes, it is. And you just never know. And I always want to tell these kids and even adults, because I was afraid of writing until last year, because I don't punctuation is not my thing. Sentence structuring is not my thing. But because of being around really supportive people, I've learned that Word Doc will fix a lot of that. You know, your
Yes.
publisher
Yes.
has people that does that. And, you know,
Right.
I've learned a lot, but don't let anything, and I do mean anything, get in your way of writing down your thoughts and being yourself. You have to be yourself. Talk the way
Yep.
you
Yep.
talk, write the way you write. We'll figure it all out as we go. That's my thing for today is we will figure it out as we go. So I have one
Yeah. And
more little sentence for you. And again, just the first thing that pops in your head. Most children are natural storytellers. We did that one. So now we are going to
yeah.
go children's vivid sense of imagination and creativity allows them to come up with extraordinary stories. What is the first thing that you think of?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Just coming up with different ideas that, whatever, if it was a toy or a drawing or a picture that a friend's kid had seen, they come up with their own uh, wild imagination story that kind of the backstory of what that image was. Just like what we were talking about, you draw something and there's some wild story that goes along with it, and all the different characters that are involved, and it's
Exactly.
just quite entertaining.
You know, you could ask someone to write about the sun, and here is the sun. And you could put 10 people, 10 year olds, and I guarantee you every one of their stories would be different. And
Yep.
Helen Snell this morning said that she was cleaning out some of her keepsakes from her kids as things that she had kept, and she had kept too many. And I think it was third or fourth grade. She said all three of her kids had to write the same topic story about.
Mm.
So I guess they gave them a topic and a picture, but all three stories were completely different.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
one of them was it was scary, the other one it was joyful, the other one was wild, and she said none of them were even similar. So I mean, it's
Yeah.
really amazing, and I just want to express to kids, and I think that's why I wanted so many of you to come on and talk about this today, is that I want them to know it's okay to be
Yeah.
themselves. Don't be someone else. Just right.
Yeah, because I mean, it's just what is it, the Rorschach ink blot test, or it's the same ink blot. Everybody sees something different in it, and it's
Yes.
the same thing with any picture, showing anyone, including the kids, that they see something different. There's something that stands out in that image that they build that story around,
Right.
and yeah.
It's been amazing. Okay, Bruce, thank you. I'm going to be right back with you. We're going to show just a couple of things, and then we'll come back to see if there's one last thing that you want to say about to the children or young writers of what maybe your suggestion is for them. So we'll be right back.
Okay.
All right, everyone. Oh, it has been great interviewing different writers about the same topic, and that is encourage a young writer to write, to just write about what they want to write about. Here's just a couple of reminders that's going on at Home Sweet Home Treasures, and here we go. All right, Bruce, is there one last thing that you want to say about encouraging a young writer?
Just to don't be afraid to write your first story. It doesn't have to be elaborate. You can do, it doesn't have to be a big novel. It can be a little short story, or it's just something to get started and let your creative juices flow and just have fun with it. It can be, anything from a fun, humorous story to maybe, a story about something that you experienced or what you did on a family vacation, or different things like that. But just, go for it.
That's right. Just start. Just start. That's the best thing I can say as well, Bruce, is just start. Write that first word down and build around it. Just build an entire story around that one word that comes out while you're in the middle of doing something else. That's the way it
And just
happens.
that flow of thoughts. Just see where it takes you.
I love that flow of thoughts. All right, Bruce, thank you so much for being here with us today. Have a beautiful day,
Thank you.
everyone, and a beautiful week. Bye-bye now.